let's talk about the project. Now the project is in Chapter 7 of your text, and we're going to do the shortened version. In the past, they sent you a CD with some software on it, and we could do the full version easily. In this case, you have to buy the access card to be able to get access to the software. So we are going to use another option that they have, which is these Excel templates. And it's a little more work using the Excel templates, and so I have decided to use the shortened version of the payroll project so that you're not spending as much time on the payroll registers part of it. So instead of doing 3 months of payroll registers and journal entries and posting to the ledger, we're only going to do 1 month, the month of December, and October and November are already done for you in the templates. And so the totals will already be available for you when you go ahead and do the forms part of the project. So this part of the video talks about using the Excel templates. When you go on to CengageBrain.com and get into your particular book, into the student website, it's going to ask you what chapter, and you're going to put in Chapter 7, and over to the side it's going to give you an option for the Excel templates, and you want to go ahead and get those. And I also I will have this shortened version template on Campus Cruiser, so you can shared files, so you can download it from that, and you will not have to get on to Cengage Brain. You can get the full Excel templates version from them, but the shortened version you have to get from me. So get that from shared files. And that is what you see here. And this is an Excel file, and here is the Excel instruction tab. It just talks about rounding and things like that. Here is the journal, the general ledger, the payroll register, and the employee's earnings records. And you'll be responsible for filling out all of those. You're going to have to, before you even start on the project, you're going to have to read through at least the first part of Chapter 7 in your book, where it talks about the project, it talks about Glow Bright Paint Company, it talks about the employees, what kinds of deductions they have to have, the chart of accounts they give you there, etc. And at least go through October 9th is the first payroll that they show you, and they discuss it step by step. And so if you look here at the payroll register, you'll see that the first payroll of October 9th is on here. You can change wherever it says student on all of these payroll registers. You can highlight on that and put your own name in those. Okay, but you can see that they've got everything punched in here. And so you can follow along what they tell you in Chapter 7, and you can follow along where they've put it on here on the payroll register. Then there's the employee's earnings records. And again, October 9th is already put on there, okay, for you. So you can follow that along as well, okay? So once you take a look at Chapter 7 at the beginning, you read through that stuff, you go through the October 9th payroll, make sure that you understand the time cards and how to put them on the payroll register and then post them to the employee's earnings record. And that you've got some of the journal entries that they did down pat and how they got them. Then go to page 7-16 in your text, and that says start of the short version, and that's where we're going to start. So December 3rd, it says number 18 on there, and that means that you could go to transaction number 18, where the form sections are, and that starts on page 7-50. And you can see the transactions numbers, and if you keep going till you see transaction number 18, there's a state filing information worksheet. And you can fill that out, and we also need to go ahead and do the journal entry for depositing the state of Pennsylvania income taxes that it's telling us for December the 3rd. Now how do we know how much to deposit? It says this is the amount that we withheld from November 20th payroll, and the best way to find out how much something, whether it's union dues or FICA or state income tax, city income tax, whatever it is to go to the general ledger and find that account. So this is the state of Pennsylvania, and so we're going to go down to the state income taxes payable, which is right here, employees SIT payable account number 25. And we can see here from November 20th that $427.53 is what is due. Okay, and so now we're going to have to pay that to the state of Pennsylvania. We owed it out as of November 20th, and now it is actually due today on December 3rd. Okay, so I'm going to go to my journal. I'm going to skip a line after this last transaction. I'm going to put in the month, which is December, and that's the 3rd. And we saw that $427.53 was how much we owed, and that was in the SIT payable account, which is a liability account. And a liability account meant that was a credit balance in there. So to decrease that, we have to debit the liability. Okay, so we're going to call this employees SIT payable. That's the account we want to debit. What account was this? Was 25. However, this is our post-reference column, so we don't put the 25 in there until after we post. Okay? Now the debit was $427.53. Now, our credit is to cash. So we have to indent a few spots, write cash, and we're going to credit that for $427.53. Now here in this project, they only give you enough journal space for they don't have explanations. Now Dr. Dooley does like explanations, but they don't have them here, so we have to do without the explanations. So we are now finished with this journal entry. if you want to see the chart of accounts, you can go in Chapter 7 to page 7-2. And that shows you the names of the accounts and the account numbers. Now, this does not give you the entire ledger. It just gives you the accounts that you need to do this project. So we can't really do like a trial balance because the capital account is not in there. Okay? So we have accounts missing, but they've only given us the accounts that we need. You do want to make sure before you post this, see down here in yellow it says total debits and credits calculated automatically. So they automatically added that $427.53 that we just added to each side. And they tell us the total debits and the total credits. And these have to equal, okay? After every journal entry, they should equal. You should not go on until those equal. Okay? Now, I need to post this. So I'm going to go down here to the tab that says General Ledger, and I'm going to find Employees SIT Payable, which was account number 25. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to put in my month, December. That was 3rd. Of course, we leave the item blank, and we say where did this information come from, which was General Journal page 45, and that was a debit to account to the SIT payable account. So we put in our debit $427.53. Now this general ledger, this Excel general ledger, if you put your cursor on over at the balance side, you'll see that they have a formula up there. So they already have the formula there. They know if it's debit and debit, it's add. Credit and credit, it's add. But if it's a debit and credit, like this case was, we have $427.53 up here as a credit balance. Now we've debited $427.53. So debit and credit means I subtract, and I now have a balance of 0. But it automatically calculated that for me. So hopefully you shouldn't have any posting errors other than if you type, if I would have typed $428.53 in my debit, now I have a negative dollar there, okay? And you don't want any negative balances. Technically, that should be showing as a dollar debit balance. But you don't want anything that shows up as a negative, otherwise you did something wrong. Okay, so I'm going to change that back to the $427.53. Okay. Now, the other thing that we have to do is to go back to the journal and say, did I post this SIT payable, and if so, to what account? I posted it to account 25. Okay, now I'm going to post this credit to the cash account, which is our regular checking account. And so I need a credit of $427.53 to that. So I go to the general journal, I scroll back up to the cash account, it's account number 11, put in my month, arrow over, this is the 3rd, leave the item line blank. Where did we get this? J45, and this was a credit. Oops. This was a credit of $427.53. As soon as I press enter, it automatically calculated the new cash balance. All right. In the next part, we're going to go through, actually, on December 4th, we have an actual payroll, and I'll show you how to do the first employees and put them into the payroll.